Doing the homework and understanding the opportunity and understanding the customer in order to create a solution that works for that customer is paramount.
Welcome to this week's edition of On the Couch series, brought to you by Indigo Living. Each week, I invite special guests to join me on the couch to share their stories. Small business owners, big business owners, philanthropists, leading women that are making a difference. Now this week, we've gone past regional and we're going global, a real game changer. Please welcome founder of the Modist, Ghizlan.
Hi.
What was that moment when you're like, I'm gonna leave the corporate world and go solo?
I don't know if it was a particular moment, but it was definitely kind of a crescendo that was building. The idea of the Modist comes from a personal experience. I mean, you know, my family, I come from a family of women who dress modestly, and I worked in finance for about 14 years. So by virtue of that industry, I dressed modestly as well. And so there was a constant friction that I experienced around the shopping for modest wear. And I knew that there was a need for a destination for women who chose to dress that way and want fashion as well and want inspiration. And so it was a build-up of that to the point where I felt like I was ready to kind of, you know, bring about the solution to that problem within business that is the Modist today.
I think that's always the answer for any entrepreneur, and that's kind of the key to success, right? That you want to find a solution. You see a problem and you're ready to find a solution. Yeah. What was the first steps of starting that business?
I personally did a lot of work and due diligence around understanding the market. I mean, I was in a different industry altogether. I had no understanding of e-commerce as a business. I mean, I loved fashion, and you were my kind of window into that world back when I was in finance. But understanding the space, understanding the opportunity, the customer, more importantly. I spent 6 months on the road traveling from countries like Saudi to Turkey to the UK to the US and speaking to women who were friends of friends, women who I randomly came across in shopping malls, to ask them about their shopping experience right now and what would be their ideal shopping experience and what they liked and brands they enjoyed and so on. So I think doing the homework and understanding the opportunity and understanding the customer in order to create a solution that works for that customer is paramount.
And you were starting a new concept, you know, and I say game changer so proudly because you have really made a difference, not just in the region, but you have satisfied the needs of so many women globally. You know, you have to have that pure conviction. Was that difficult to kind of go out there and sell this concept?
What was interesting is that because it solved a real need, it was very easy for anyone to understand why we were creating what we were creating. And the other element is that there was so much passion and there was so much purpose to what we were creating, which is around smashing stereotypes around modesty and around inclusivity. Women from everywhere, all backgrounds, religions, regions were coming and shopping with us, showcasing different ways around, you know, what is beautiful, who are the women who are, you know, who would be on the covers of our magazines. So there was a lot of purpose and values in the business that made it easy for us to pitch it, whether to investors or to employees.
And what about designers? Because you've actually asked them to create capsule collections, special pieces. Was that a very collaborative effort when you went to an international designer?
Yeah, I mean, at the outset, it's always, you know, there's apprehension around what modesty is, because again, it is very stereotyped. There's a particular woman that comes to mind, a particular look, maybe a religion that comes to mind. But the minute that we explained the concept and exactly what it was that we had in mind and how global and how universal and how obsessed with fashion we were as much as the functionality of modesty, they all embraced the idea. And it was collaborative. And I think what designers loved about us is that they found us to be this bridge between them and between a whole market of modest dressers who they wouldn't be speaking to in a meaningful way directly.
And who would you say your number one country is when it comes to shopping? Would we be surprised, or the top 3 countries?
I think the surprise is the fact that the US is around 35% of our market, and it's American Western women from the US that are shopping with the Modist. But when we built the brand, we built it as a global brand in the sense that it was agnostic as to why the woman dressed modestly. We wanted it to be about fashion, and we wanted it to solve the functionality problem, but we also wanted to make sure that it addressed women from Asia and from the Middle East, as well as women from the US.
So one of the successful aspects to your website, I always say, is the styling. You know, you seem to have it really down pat. It's not about just putting that dress on. It's completely styled. How big is your team right now?
The styling team is not so big, but it's a team of people who are so passionate about this woman. I mean, when I see our team styling in studio, they literally have conversations around, no, you can't layer this with that. She'll feel so hot. This is not practical. They actually think about how the woman lives her life and the fact that she needs coverage, fashion, but also practicality. There's a lot of thought that goes into everything that we do.
So what does living beautifully mean to you?
I think it's about enjoying the small things and big things. I think it's about finding happiness in simple things. Like if I were to talk about moments that make me happy, you know, you'd be surprised. It's actually very, very simple things in life that actually bring me happiness. And I think that's what living beautifully is, that you don't need, you know, huge things in life to make you smile and to make you happy. That to me what living beautifully is.
Well, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of On the Couch series, brought to you by Indigo Living. Thank you, Ghizlan, for being on the show.
For having me.
I'm sure you have been inspired by her story. She took that leap of faith to start her business, follow her passion for fashion, and of course finding a niche in the market. And I think that is the true story and success of any entrepreneur. So a real game changer right here. Follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course all our social media feeds on Indigo Living UAE. And of course, start shopping on the Modist. See you soon.